Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you kindly for stopping by. As I've said previously, I do appreciate it. I thoroughly enjoyed the RMA party last night. This was around the launch of the Discovery Sport. I'll put up a photograph that I tweeted, Party Time RMA Kenya, #Adventure Hero. And really was a great deal of fun. I didn't participate in what was a great success. There was a competition amongst 4 cars, and Koki Mutungi, the pilot with Kenya Airways, amongst others, really interesting people, created a massive buzz on social media, so well done to all of them. Macro thoughts: a preliminary China factory gauge fell to a 12-month low. So-called Flash Purchasing Managers Index from HSBC Holdings and Market Economics fell to 49.2 for April. Home thoughts: I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you, Michael Ondaatje, the English patient. I like this photograph from the Ritz-Carlton, exotic fruits by the pool, #KL. And this photograph from Very Old Pics, the only known photograph of Einstein deriving his famous equation E equals mc squared. And then finally on Ondaatje again, everything is biographical, Lucian Freud says. What we make, why it is made, how we draw a dog, who it is we are drawn to, who we cannot forget. Everything is collage, even genetics. There is the hidden presence of others in us, even those we have known briefly. We contain them for the rest of our lives at every border we cross. Michael Ondaatje. Political reflections: Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe talks with the Chinese President Xi Jinping during their bilateral meeting on the sideline of the Asian-African Summit in Jakarta in Indonesia on April 22nd, 2015. The meeting was longer than expected at 29 minutes. At the start of their meeting, Abe said that ties between the two nations had improved since they last met in November. He later told reporters that the talks were very significant and he wanted to keep meeting with Xi at international events. This short meeting is a continuation of the one in Beijing because both sides want to show their willingness to maintain a high-level dialogue. Two countries have realized it's in their interest to maintain communications to prevent the situation from worsening. Xi Jinping is an arch exponent of body language and messaging via body language. It's very well worth studying him, actually. And this seems to be an attempt now to calm things down a little bit. From color revolution to unconventional war. In the years since the war on Yugoslavia, the US has perfected and patterned a novel method of regime change that proceeds according to pre-established escalation checkpoints. Washington first issues either a direct or implicit covert ultimatum to the targeted government, the rejection of which serves as the dog whistle for activating the dormant color revolution social infrastructure present in the country. Should that plan come to fail, then some of the associated destabilizing actors are transitioned into launching an unconventional war. The final step, should that fail, and a great power doesn't diplomatically intervene, as Russia did with Syria in September 2013, is to repeat the Libyan scenario of a conventional intervention that leaves no doubt as to the success of its regime change odds. And I wrote that piece in 2011, Gaddafi's Body in a Freezer. What's the message? And it was really talking to that point. Currency markets, the euro is at 106.95, dollar index is 98.20. The dollar index is down 0.6% this month, and that's after an 18% rally in the past year. Japanese yen around the 119.85 level. The market JNMA Flash Japan Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index fell to a seasonally adjusted 49.7 in April from 50.3 in March. 50, above 50 being expansionary. Swissy 0.9699, but I'll come to why the Swiss franc softened yesterday. Pound 150.12. Aussie 0.7746 when I looked last. India rupee 62.895. South Korean won 1083.42. The Rial 3008. Egyptian pound 762.25. And the Rand is at 1222.49. Dollar index, I'll put up a 3-month chart. We've been in the consolidation phase for a little while. I for one think we're going to rally mightily again. Dollar bulls say the rally is just pausing. That's what I feel. Euro dollar 107.01, finding some kind of support below the 107 level now. But what's interesting amongst a lot of these patterns is we're seeing a narrowing of the range, a triangular wedge type pattern. That normally presages a very big break either way. We'll have to work out which way that break is going to happen. S&P announces fewer exemptions from negative interest rates. The Swiss National Bank said it has considerably reduced the group of sight deposit account holders that are exempt from negative interest rates. S&P completed its review and announced on Wednesday negative interest rates will now also apply to the so-called sight deposit accounts held at the S&P by enterprises associated with the Confederation Federal Pension Fund and the S&P's pension fund. The affected account holders will be accorded the minimum exemption threshold of Swiss francs 10 million, to which negative interests does not apply. In addition, the accounts of the cantons of Geneva and Zurich, as well as the city of Zurich, will be wound up. The S&P imposes a charge of 0.75% on sight deposit account balances at the central bank. I'll put up a 3-day chart of the dollar Swiss. You can see that created a weaker Swissy, and a 3-day chart of the euro Swissy, and I think that also softened up the euro as well. Exclusive look inside the Four Seasons new private jumbo jet. Here's what you get for an $119,000 around the world ticket. It's no Gulfstream, it's a straight up jumbo, reconfigured Boeing 757-200ER. Looks downright sexy in its new shade of metallic black. Operated under the Four Seasons flag as an entree to extravagant group excursions. The interior went from 233 standard size seats to 52 lie flat seats in a 2x2 configuration. Each seat stretches 6.5 feet with ample aisle and legroom and offers 78 inches of personal space. Overhead bins are nearly double their original size, now fitting 189 bags, but take up less headspace by tucking up into the crown of the fuselage. A new bicolor LED lighting system creates a clean, calm mood in shades of violet, white, and soft blues. Put up a photograph of the white leather seats designed by Italian craftsman Lacco Bucci. Lie flat and extend out to 6.5 feet. And these newly designed overhead bins on the Four Seasons jet are nearly twice the size of a standard Boeing 757. Commodity markets, gold is at 1188. We're now well below 1200. I'll put up a 3-month chart. I think we're going to roll over some more. Crude oil, last time I looked, $56.27, dropped 0.8% on Wednesday. A US government report showed record oil inventories swelled further, even as fewer active drill rigs led to a drop in output. I still think Oil is going to set new lows this year. A flawless 100-carat diamond is sold for $22.1 million at Sotheby's in New York. Put up an image of that. Moving on, Money Academy, who follow each other on Twitter, tweeted African region major currencies continuing to depreciate against the dollar, though some remain overvalued. That's the World Bank. Goldman Sachs' CEO Lloyd Blankfein said South Africa represents enormous investment potential, but is risky. Commander-in-Chief of the world's biggest investment bank on Wednesday gave the thumbs up to scaled investment in South Africa, which he sees as having enormous potential and also a lot of risk. CEO Lloyd Blankfein said in response, generally bullish about South Africa as a favourable investment destination, but that it was appropriate to scale such investments to country risk. If you're investing in South Africa, you're taking a lot of risk and there's enormous potential, and so we would invest. We have invested. We do invest, and we're open for investment. But we must scale it so that we don't become so committed that the P&L of an investment determines our view of the opportunities in the country. If you ask me about China, I would give you the exact same answer, he said. And he postulated that troubled South African state-owned enterprises might also consider taking a cue from China's hybrid system, where huge state-owned enterprises, vitally important to the development of China, remain controlled by the central government, and in most cases 80% majority owned, but with a 20% float on the stock market, which subjected them to stock exchange discipline and transparency. Aspects of South Africa's problems were the same as those in many other countries, including unemployment, inequality, need for investment in infrastructure, though certain distinctive aspects were amplified in South Africa, including vast inequalities that had to be changed, but from a lower base. Interesting. Nigeria has summoned the South African diplomat as the Lagos embassy South Africa shut its consulate in Nigeria's commercial hub Lagos on Tuesday until Thursday after unspecified social media comments by Nigerians. George Nesangani, the mission's first political secretary, said by phone on Wednesday. The South African all-share closed at a record high and is up 10.57% so far this year, and has been on a bit of a tear. On that note, I'll put up, being on a tear, I'll put up a photograph of Kyalami in Johannesburg, which once used to host F1 races. Dollar rand 12.2234, Egyptian pound unchanged at 762.98, Egyptian stock market down 2.37% so far this year. Nigerian all-share up 2.22% so far this year, but obviously very strong rally from a two-year low on the I think 13th of February. Ghana Stock Exchange is up just a marginal 0.03%. Kenya graft war crippled as MPs kick out bosses. President Kenyatta was on Wednesday evening given the green light to suspend Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman Mumo Matemo and his deputy Ms. Irene Kano, and set up a tribunal to investigate their conduct. If the president suspends the two commissioners, they would be entitled to half their salaries and benefits while under suspension. EACC is currently working on numerous cases involving public officers that were in a list submitted to the President, who in turn handed it over to Parliament. The Commission had this week said it would give 21 files to the Director of Public Prosecution next week so that he can start prosecuting the cases. The committee also observes that the 60-day timeline given by the President to conclude investigations is not a legal timeline and can be extended. The President, in conclusion, has to face down a lot of rearguard actions, and his intent is clear, and I think it can be an inflection point, but it's now got to go through the political process. Britam has had a torrid time, obviously its biggest shareholder, Dawood Rawat, a Mauritian, is in the crosshairs of the Mauritian regulatory authorities around a Ponzi scheme, and the risk here is that he is forced by the regulator here to divest his more than 20% stake, which presents an interesting opportunity, because I think that might present itself as an opportunity to a private equity business looking to get into this sector. The share price is down 31.93% so far this year's close limit down for 2 sessions in a row. Nairobi all shares up 5.46% year to date, fell 0.68% yesterday. NSE 20 retreated 0.61% yesterday. It's negative 1.369% so far this year, and this is a December 2014 low now. Tatu City sponsor Stephen Jennings is seen in this photograph by Diana Nagila with Dorman's chairman Jeremy Block during the signing and groundbreaking for the establishment of a 10-acre Dorman's global headquarters on Tatu City land. Interesting piece by a fellow called Con Hallinan, blowback from Somalia's Kenya's sorrow, the US connection. Have a look at that if you've got a second. As I said, the market was weak yesterday. The all-share reverse course and closed 0.68% lower. NSE 20 closed 0.61% lower. NSE 20 has been significantly underperforming the all-share, and that speaks to the big cap outperformance at the Securities Exchange. Safaricom closed 0.97% easier at 17.05. 1.15% below a record closing high of 17.25, reached not too long ago, and it's all set to release its full year earnings on May the 7th, and rather pleased as Bob said to me, "Did you get my letter?" And I said, "No, he's never written me a letter," and indeed he has, so I'll be doing an interview with him. I look forward to that. Kenya Airways is up 5.67% this week. KCB unchanged at 64.50. Just below a record of 65 reached last week. Britam, as I said, 2 limit down moves now. A bigger shareholder, Mr. Rawat, and reports out of Mauritius indicate a Mauritius court issued an international arrest warrant Monday afternoon for Mr. Rawat, and he's wanted for fraud, money laundering and embezzlement. It looks increasingly likely that Rawat will be compelled to disgorge his shares in Britain. EABL was the most actively traded share. Their CEO, Diageo CEO Ivan Menezes, is in town next week. BAT has rebounded 14.64% over 4 trading sessions after closing at a 2015 low below 700. Total was a strong feature, up 5.55% to close at 23.75. TransCentury rallied 5.69% ahead of the imminent release of its full year earnings. Once again, thank you for stopping by. I hope the week has gone well, and I appreciate the fact that you take time to come by. Thank you.